Hello everybody and welcome back to QuipScope, the show where we take a look at a new game and have a conversation about it. My name is Ben and I'm joined by video editor and scriptwriter extraordinaire for TripleJump, James. Hello, James.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm not Peter. This might upset some people.
Peter is on his hollandaise sauce,
yes.
and so he's away. But Gears 5 is out. I mean, sort of, right? It's available early for some people.
It's a little bit out, yeah.
And we're gonna have a conversation about it. I played a little bit of it. I'm not a huge Gears guy, but you've played Gears before.
Yes. Yeah, I played 1 and 2.
Right.
And then gave up on the series.
Hooray!
I played a little bit of 4. So, yeah, I mean, we'll probably get into it in a little bit, but the recap was especially useful for me.
So is that as soon as you start up the game, or?
So essentially, you start up and you have no other option but to do the boot camp. You must learn all of these things, even if you have played it before. And by the way, all of the controls are pretty similar anyway, so you've got the whole sort of reload thing. But yeah, you have to go through this initial start thing and shoot some robots.
Is that like when you start the campaign, or does that just immediately kick off as soon as you?
Oh, it immediately kicks off, like without any sort of any context whatsoever, and then suddenly you're in a boot camp talking to somebody that you only meet about 2-3 hours into the campaign.
Oh, interesting.
Although it's a previous character, so yeah, it's one of those things.
There's a little bit of familiarity there, and it's available now for is it Xbox Game Pass? Is that how you get access to it?
Xbox Game Pass, yeah. So recently they've done this thing where they, if you pay a certain amount of money, you can upgrade to Ultimate, and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate was the big thing they were talking about at E3.
Okay.
Which basically piles everything into one. So it's like it's your Xbox Live account, it's Xbox Game Pass, and also you get to play some of the games on PC.
Oh,
which is cool.
Interesting. Okay.
That's sort of released early for anybody that has, I think, just regular Game Pass as well as Ultimate. I did the upgrade, but yeah.
It's because you're the proest.
Yeah,
Xbox
clearly.
Pro.
And I'm the biggest fan of Xbox and Gears. I'm not, though. That's the thing.
But the important thing is that it's here. We've played it. I've played like half an hour of it, of the campaign.
You got the gist.
I get it. Like I did a little bit of testing work on various Gears of War multiplayer modes when I worked at Splash Damage a couple of years ago. So I've experienced Gears, but I don't know the story and I don't know the characters and stuff. So let's talk about the campaign. Because it seems from all of the pre-release stuff that we've had, the cinematic trailers and things, this Kait character is being pushed as a real focus. She's struggling with some perhaps identity issues. Is that right?
Headaches mostly.
Headaches.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, she's got a few problems. So the initial teaser sort of like everything we've seen so far is her sort of struggling with these visions, basically. So it's sort of alluded to beforehand about her sort of past. So from what I gathered, and don't crucify me if I've got this wrong, because I'm very much jumping in again, having not been in there for a while. But the story from what I've seen is it's a few years after. It's about 25 years after, like the original trilogy. So you see sort of Marcus Fenix's son, JD, and then a couple of other people, one of which being Kait. And then you slowly sort of find out about her intriguing past, mainly the fact that her grandmother... I don't know whether to spoil it or not, but I think
from
it's
Gears
in...
4,
this is information that ends up at the end of Gears 4. So yeah, spoiler warning, I guess.
So basically, if you want to skirt around spoiling it, is it basically that she's got heritage that makes who she's fighting problematic?
Basically, that's very cryptic. I don't think anyone's going to get that.
No, absolutely not.
Safe.
Without expressly spelling it out, I think we've danced around the fire there a little bit.
Excellent.
Okay, so she's struggling with that. Obviously, you've not played a great deal of the campaign. I had no idea what was going on anyway, but it certainly seems to be not off to a slow start, but then they're not going into that sort of thing at all as yet. There's just been a brief mention of headaches and how she should go get them checked out, right?
Yeah, basically. So we were sort of joking about it earlier. The whole what is quite nice is the fact that if you have subtitles on, it's good for like hard of hearing, and it which is fantastic. But it also sort of details whenever she has headache pains as well, which is delightful.
It's fantastic. The subtitles, it's pretty much all or nothing in that it does give practically the stage directions as well.
Yeah.
So when Marcus is annoyed, it's a muffled, low, annoyed grunt or something.
Annoyed father growling.
Pretty much that.
But basically when you start off, it's very obvious it's narrative heavy anyway. They're really sort of pushing this new story, which is kind of weird in that they have to carry on this old universe that was very caricatured anyway and very silly and, as you said earlier, of its time. But now they're trying to take it in a more sort of serious direction, but at the same time sort of look into the characters' histories, basically. So, you've got a bit of, father-son moment with, like, JD and Marcus. And Marcus is very annoyed that his son disobeys some orders at one point. So, obviously, there's a bit there.
Okay.
The main sort of protagonist that has been in all of the build-up promotional stuff, Kait, she has a little bit of a past, as we alluded to before. It doesn't really get into that much, but there's a lot of, foreshadowing with it.
Right. As you said, what I said to you earlier when we were giving it a go about how it feels like it was a product of its time, Gears of War. It's interesting because I'm obviously coming into this as a person who's not really played Gears of War before, but has always been aware of it.
Yeah.
And playing it today was so weird for me because I've just not played a game like this for about 10 years because there just hasn't been anything. Yeah, there hasn't really been anything like it on PlayStation, which is my primary platform that I stick to. There just hasn't been anything like that probably since Resistance is the closest relative to Gears of War in terms of, just sort of clunky shooter with kind of overtones.
Put all these chest-high covers around.
Well, it's nice that they're trying to, it's kind of like how Kratos was adapt or die. The documentary about the new God of War is that Kratos was just so unlikable and they couldn't, if they were to reboot, for want of a better term, like a soft reboot of God of War, then they didn't really see how they could bring Kratos across because he was already so established as someone that was unlikable.
Yeah.
And they managed to pull it off, but not without completely reinventing what God of War was from both a gameplay perspective and a narrative perspective. Here, the gameplay has not been reinvented at all, but they're still trying to sort of divert away from the bro shooter attitude of like 2006 by taking the same characters and saying actually they do have nuance, and that feels like
dimension to them. Yes,
right.
Yes.
So that feels a little bit weird to me. I don't know, but again, I'm speaking from a place of total ignorance in that I've never played these games before, but it was just interesting to play a game like that because you just don't get games like that anymore, for better or for worse.
It is, it's certainly interesting. So like the I think if you'd have seen the opening sort of sequence, and hopefully we'll have footage of that anyway, the intro, the first mission was very sort of set piece heavy. You drop into this island area. You've got sort of a bit of a continuation of the story from the end of 4, and then you're trying to find some what was it? I think you're trying to find either some satellite information for the Hammer of Dawn, so they're continuing this whole thing of like this basically biblical weapon that was introduced in the first game.
Okay.
You just point and everything in the immediate area just gets obliterated by satellite.
Oh, fantastic.
I think in the story they got destroyed and now they're trying to bring it back, but you're going through this area. It's very lush sort of island, ruined sort of scientific laboratory area, and there was a weird area where they tried to introduce stealth.
Oh,
so
in this game?
Yeah.
Okay.
You didn't see it in the bits that we played earlier because it was just a standard. Here's a Gears of War open map that's you can shoot some things with.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, when they get there, all hell breaks loose and there's lots of explosions. Is the
Hooray.
gist of it.
So was the stealth just sort of completely invalidated by the eventual explosion?
The stealth was weird because you just do that once, and it felt like, obviously I haven't played too far into the game anyway. I haven't seen another moment where that would possibly be useful, but it looked like they were trying, at least with that first bit, to change some impressions to make it look a little bit different.
Yeah.
However, we've also seen that it's basically, rather than revolutionizing everything and sort of redoing the gameplay aspect, as it looks like they've tried to do with the actual narrative and tried to flesh that out. They haven't really done that with the gameplay. They've just sort of stuck with it and just polished it a little bit and sort of brought it up. And I mean, by all means, it is pretty good for what it is. And we're hearing sort of good things from early review builds and stuff. So
early reviews are saying it's good, and you were watching me play through a level, and you said that your initial impressions were very positive in that they seemed to be changing stuff. But then the level that I played through apparently was just sort of textbook Gears, where you have to go down, fight off a load of enemies, then go through to another area, fight off a load of enemies, then stand your ground for a bit, and then there's a cutscene.
I tell you what, that game did everything in its power to make me look like an idiot when I was trying to sort of help it and big it up, and then hey, here's the same Gears of War. We're not convincing you at all.
Well, that's the thing, right? Because it certainly seems that there's a contingent of very eager Gears of War fans who this is going to appeal to, because something that seems to be popping up in a lot of reviews is that this is a very complete package. There's a lot of stuff in it, and if you're a Gears fan, you're going to have a fantastic time. If you're not a Gears fan, in that you haven't played it before, then it's weird to jump in at the 5th version, but you can probably still enjoy yourself. But if you're not a Gears fan because Gears of War turned you off in the past, it's not going to be like God of War was for the other God of War games, where if you're like, I don't really like the hack and slash God, I don't really like Kratos, but the new God of War was a total reinvention. This is not that. So I mean, you can come along for the story if you like, but the gameplay is going to be similar.
It looks, I mean, pretty spot on. It's they're looking to sort of revamp the narrative, but the gameplay looks very similar. But as you say, you touch on that. There is a huge amount to do as well. So obviously, it's not just campaign, as much as they've clearly put a lot of effort into that. They've also done apparently a lot of revamps with Horde Mode. We tried out a little bit of it. It seemed fairly similar. The other interesting thing, which I think was shown off in E3, was this escape mode.
Yes.
So basically, it feels a little bit like Horde. I mean, obviously it's Gears of War, you're shooting things, but rather than it being sort of defensive and you're fighting off waves, you have to get out of an area. So you sort of drop in, cool little cinematic. You almost sort of say to the aliens.
Yes.
Hello, alien. You just say to them, or the locusts, I should say, here I am, take me away to your like hidey hole, and then you sort of wake up and you reveal, it's all a trap, I've got this thing, I'm going to put it down in the ground and infect this hive and then get the hell out.
Right.
It's interesting in that you've got map making elements in there as well. So you have your own map editor. I tried it a little bit. I tried to make a very trolly map, then realised that you had to actually complete it to publish it, and then when I did complete it, I realised, it's not that trolly after all. Oh well. But it's interesting. It's got a lot of like very sort of tile-based setup, and you put these parts of the map together. It's
another thing, it's another thing that it sounds like more than anything else there is a lot to Gears 5. Whether or not you like the gameplay, as we said, because nothing's really been changed all that much, is entirely down as to whether or not you actually will care about this game or should even get it. But if you have even a passing interest in Gears and like the other ones, it seems like it's just kind of the ultimate package for you to experience Gears, because there's just so much of it in there.
Well, I mean, absolutely. It's I would say like with the amount of stuff there as well, like I forgot to mention, but the progression, it feels like they want you to keep playing for a long while, as every single game does these days anyway. But you have all of these like unlocks and progressions. Some of it, I can see the appeal of it. Some of like the perk cards and what have you, like I was saying earlier, the grenade +1 or +5 to armor isn't that inspiring at all. But I'll be very curious to see how the escape mode does in particular, because like with custom made maps and stuff,
it's almost endless replayability there.
Yeah,
as long as the mode is fun to play, right? And
it was quite fun.
That's the important thing. But it's out right now for Game Pass holders.
It's out as of today, so time of recording the 6th. It is out for Game Pass Ultimate and just Game Pass owners. It comes out, I believe, on the 10th for everybody else.
Okay. James, as a Gears of War sort of fan who played the earlier ones, would you recommend it?
Honestly, I'll say why I said to you earlier. Like, I was actually pleasantly surprised. Yeah. I was not expecting much. I was expecting it to be more of the same. Gears of More. There we go. I did it. Yeah,
nice.
I did
There's the quip. Nice, good stuff.
But it was... I mean, it is that, but they've also done a lot to sort of dress it up, and I will actually probably give the campaign a go, because it does seem quite interesting. It sort of got me sort of back into it enough to wonder, where are they going with this? Is Daddy Marcus going to be a bad parent or a good parent? I want to find out.
I need to know.
And what about the headaches? Right?
Yeah, the headaches or the weird subtitles that you get. What was it? It was like aggressive shoulder check exertion noise. It's like,
shoulder exertion. Yeah.
That's weird. What a weird description for that. So that's probably the best way to experience it, is with the subtitles on. That's one thing you can take away from this video, is play it with subtitles, because you get way more out of it. It's way funnier that way. I don't know if it's intended to be funny, but there we go. James, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me here.
And let us know in the comments what you make of Gears 5, if you've played it yet, or if you have any interest in it. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.